everyone wants to be an educator nowadays because it's a cool thing to do. You know, they see people traveling around the world and they see all the cool parts to what we do. You know, but it's very challenging, you know, it's taxing on the body. It's like we're leaving our friends, we're leaving our family.
You know, we were building a brand before social media was even a thing.
Yeah.
You know, you could build a brand tonight, overnight, and become a viral sensation. But I mean, he's a one-man army. This piece does it all.
One-man band, do literally everything
Do you
myself.
see his credits on his
my
men's hairdresser of the year? Hair by me, makeup by me,
Photography
photos by me,
Love it.
styling. Come on.
Hi, welcome to the Noble Barber podcast. I'm Anthony Laban, and we'll be talking to various people in the industry who've made it and their journey and how they got here. Talking honest, cutting through the crap, and making sure your story and their story is heard to help your business and hopefully mine. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hi there, I'm Anthony Laban, and welcome to the Noble Barber podcast. I'm here today with Josh Lamonaca and Kevin Luchmun from Luchmun Studios. Obviously, we all know you guys. One of the big things that I've been wanting to talk about ages is about, and we spoke earlier about training and what's happening out there at the moment. Obviously, you two, I mean, boys, you couldn't lead the field any further with your training aspect and your view on training. How do you feel it is out there at the moment?
Firstly, can I just say I'm really delighted to be here.
Thank you very much.
I really love your content. I think it's really high-grade professional.
Thank you.
I know it's been a little while to catch me on here, but I'm really glad to be here, first and
mate,
foremost. Can I just say that? Yeah, real quick.
Thank you.
The industry is full of educators, good and bad. Goes without saying. You know, I think 10 years ago when I first started like really being on, let's say, the face of the scene, there was not many educators, you know, and the industry was in a place of just very, very basic understanding of hair. Along the course of that journey, I have been very fortunate to inspire many people to become educators, as you know, as has Kevin. And I think what's happened is it's just had this very kind of uplifting effect on the industry, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you get the other side of things where people have come into the industry because they've seen it's cool. And, you know, at the moment we live in a click-through generation. When I say a click-through generation, I'm talking about people, you know, we have the likes of Amazon. If you want something, you get it the next day.
Yeah.
If you want to watch a series, you go to Netflix. You don't have to. When we were younger, you had to wait the next week for the next series. Things now is very, very quick. And it comes with a lot of goodness as well. But I think one thing that you have to check is people's intention and the reason why they educate in the first place. You know, I remember teaching, well, I'd never made the intention to teach. It was because people in my class at the time were asking me for help. And sincerely, it was just a case of, I like to help. Mm-hmm. And that just followed on, you know. So I think what's happening now is that there's multiple educators, and like I say, some are fantastic, some are not so fantastic. And there's always guidance and there's misguidance. And I think we have to take it for a pinch of salt because, you know, you can't control the industry, neither can I. And we have to let it roll. But I think what's important is that we have to show real dominancy and professionalism. And I think that's what myself personally and Kevin, that's what we do. Yeah. You know, and I think that's a great example for people that do want to do it. But you know, there's not a lot of people that understand what comes behind the scenes, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Well, I think that's what I've always seen with both of you, this kind of commitment to your training and your education. It is properly passing on the baton. You seem like you really have a good level of integrity about the way you teach. Do you think that's based in the way you were taught and the way you learned your craft?
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I can totally agree with everything that Josh has said. There are good educators and there's bad educators, and then I think it's more so people doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know, as Josh was saying, you know, we've been in this industry for like, you know, I've been over 2 decades now. Like same with Josh, and it's like back in the day when we was like training, we had to go through those ropes. We had to like earn our stripes, you know. And like as Josh was saying, it's like nowadays everyone wants things quickly. You know, people do want to work hard for it, but it's kind of like they're looking at what other people are doing and being like, right, okay, if they're traveling, why I should be traveling as well. I should be doing that. You know, it's all like, rather than like, you know what, guy asked me, he said, like, you know, what recommendations would you give me? I was just like, learn as much as you can, you know, learn from everyone, take as much as you can in. And when the time's right and you feel like, okay, you know, you've pretty much got everything, then it's the time to progress on and move on to the next stage, you know? But I feel like, it's just I don't know, I look at it like everyone wants to be an educator nowadays because it's a cool thing to do. You know, they see people traveling around the world and they see all the cool parts to what we do, you know, but it's very challenging, you know, it's taxing on the body. It's like we're leaving our friends, we're leaving our family, you know, we're having to jump on a plane, jet lag and stuff like that, and then go on stage and with a big smile on our face and present to people. It's tough.
Well, you both were both have just recently come back from Dubai, and we're here today at the Great British Barber Bash. Both educational tours for you guys. I think the understanding I seem to get when I look at certainly what you guys are putting out on social media about your training is there's a real true understanding of the craft, and your way of explaining is very clear. Not always the case with others that I've seen. But it seems to me it's always more than just understanding. It is that ability to communicate. Where do you think have you gained that over the years, or is that something that innately you both had? Where does that communication come from?
That's actually a good question.
But do you know
Sorry,
what I
they
think
come up every now and
do you know
again.
what it is? It's like it's setting the foundation. We've got strong foundations, and I feel like nowadays it's like people don't want to create their strong foundations. Like, you know, we started off as assistants. We started off as shadowing people. We started going to these shows for free. We started, like, you know, investing into what we were doing. I remember back in the day, I would have to pay to go on like different courses to actually see and educate my own staff. Remember Josh saying to me, it's like, we can give opportunities to people, but it's like, what are they doing to invest into themselves? Like, not only financially, but also, like, you know, what they're doing to like learn from other people and grow from other people. From me, it is a case of setting a strong foundation from the get-go. You know, asking questions, learning from people, assisting people, doing things for free, you know, gaining knowledge from other people. And, you know, I guess in the industry that we're in of barbering, or this industry here of barbering, it's not just learning about this, it's learning about like long hair, it's learning about hair up, it's learning about styling hair and all these different elements to then be able to be like, right, okay, I'm going to be able to deliver an education in all types of hair. You ask Josh, you put anything in front of Josh, patterns, designs, afro hair, long hair, styling hair, hair up, braiding, anything like that, he'll be able to do it. Same with me as well.
I think that's why I love your work so much. And I always have done and I always will do, because I see you very familiar to myself, just all-rounder, you know each part of the hair industry. And I love that. And I think that's why we maybe get along as well so much and why we resonate with each other a lot. But in terms of the question, communication itself, I think for me, like, you know, Kev said, if you have a strong foundation, you're very confident. You're very confident about what you do. And if you're confident about what you do, then it's very obvious that you can be very clear in speech. And for me, I think the one thing that sets myself apart, or Menspire in general, is the way that we teach, is the delivery and the method and how we transfer information to our students. We have become so successful, more so not because of the information, but because of the communication. And I think that's so key, because how many times have you tried to learn someone from something and you just don't get it? Yeah. And then you've got that one educator who can guide you through it, and you're like, oh man, you make it sound so simple. And it's like, well, yeah, it is, because I understand it so deeply. My knowledge is so deeply embedded. I have a way that you can understand it with simplicity. And I think another thing for me personally is I'm very passionate about communication. I love to speak different languages, and I think that shows tenfold when it comes to actually delivering and, you know, I guess performing on stage and stuff like that. So in terms of communication, a lot of it comes from passion.
Yeah, and also, like, it's so true. Communication is key. You look at it, if we strip that back to our foundations of working behind a chair, how do you get your clients? Through communication. Yeah. Through actually listening. I think a lot of the times people are like so busy speaking and educating and talking about what they're talking about, but not actually listening to what actually people want to hear and actually learn as well.
Well, I think I was always brought up with the idea of you listen more than you talk, and you definitely gain more. There seems to be, obviously, a very crowded marketplace, certainly for online education these days. Obviously, not from a competitive point of view, but from a learner, do you think it's more confusing now if you were trying to find education? Do you think it's easy to find good and bad?
I think it's
Because
easy to
they're
find
quite
education,
disguised.
but there's so much out there.
Yeah,
And the problem is where there's so much out there, there's so much choice, and there's so much confusion as well to a lot of people. Like Josh was saying, simplicity to me is the key. The way I teach, the way I deliver is keep it in the most simple form and something that they can translate into their salon situation.
Sure.
Of course, we can do something that's going to be creative and show a different approach to how we'd cut someone's hair and do something creative, but then that's to showcase what we can do. Do you know what I mean? I'm always like, how can you translate that and take that back to the salon and utilize that and use that in the salon environment as well?
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
Say no more.
I think the thing is like myself and Josh, like we're very similar in the way we think. Like very similar in the way we think, and it's for me, like having the opportunities, sharing the stage with Josh and seeing Josh's work is like the way we deliver things is relatable. You know what I mean? It's not too confusing, and there is a lot of confusion out there because I feel like a lot of these, let's just say a lot of educators that want to try and show that they're the best or they're doing something amazing, they want to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it's just blown someone's mind that I have no clue what we've just said, but it looks cool.
But I see both of you do your education is based on the technique. It always seems you both seem to come back to technique, and you'll incorporate a new haircut or a new look into that.
Yeah,
but you corner everything on the technique.
But you know, I always say it's like whenever I'm doing a creative haircut, I never say it's a creative haircut. It's a creative way of thinking. Okay, because if you think about it, it's like you've got your one length, your graduation, your layers. It's how do you have a creative way of thinking to implement that in different areas of the hair to create your creative haircut?
Yeah.
You know, a creative haircut can be whatever you want it to be, you know?
Well, I mean, I presume from your upbringing, both of you, that the technique was where you learned. I learned, you know, my training was sassoons. It was you learned your technique so that you're not tripped up. It seems like there's a trend to learn a haircut again, rather than learn the techniques that make that haircut.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess with the influence of social media, we're very much more so observant to particular hairstyles. So, for example, the last 6 months we've seen the burst fade, you know, tenfold. And, you know, it's become a thing of, okay, let's learn that. Instead of let's learn actually how to maneuver the clipper to create something more than that or, you know, a progression of that, etc. So you're right, there definitely has become an influx of like, this haircut, that haircut, this haircut, in comparison to actually, no, if we learn the foundations and technique, then we'll have the ability to create any haircut. You know, it's the old saying about the fish and the man that, you know yourself, if you get given the fish, you won't learn how to catch the fish. If you are, you know, taught how to fish, then you can fish and get 100 fish. You know, we know that old saying, and same goes for haircuts. You learn the techniques, you can do any haircut. If you learn the haircut, you learn that one haircut done. You're a one haircut wonder.
Yeah. I know you both came back from Dubai recently. It'd be interesting to hear your views on what the reality of a global brand is really on you as individuals. What the reality of flying around the world, which to everybody else, catching your bits on Instagram seems very cool and glamorous and is very aspirational for a lot of people. What's the reality of the last 72 hours of your lives?
Well, you've just got back from Dubai, so...
Yesterday, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, on my story, you see beautiful haircuts, you see beautiful cities, lovely stage shows, but you don't see me when I'm in a place of discomfort. You don't see me in a place where the bed is too hard and it's not comfortable. You don't see me in a place where I'm maybe crying because I want to see my kids. You don't see that. That does not go on my story. So as much as it looks glamorous, there's definitely, I would say, and I would call it a dark side. And it's the price that you pay for success. You know, and I think, you know, one thing that I think we both, you know, vouch for is that one day it'll all be worth it. Yeah. You know, when we're living in a time now where, you know, wealth is very hard to come by, and especially for our children to go and buy their houses, and the future is not looking good. So if we can do that now for them, you know, not saying that the sustenance is not written for them, but if we can be the man, you know, to provide for our family, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's it.
And that, again, it goes back to the intention. Why are you doing it? I'm not doing it because I want to stand up there. No, I'm doing it because I know this is the sustenance that gives me, my family, what they need to survive in this day and age.
Yeah.
I can't agree anymore. Like, I mean, exactly that. That's the whole reason why I do it. And Josh knows that as well. For me, family is my everything. And it's tough. Like, people see the glamorous side to what we're doing. They don't see how many trains, how many taxis, how many flights, jet lag, and then to stand up on stage with a big smile and present what we present. We're very passionate and we enjoy doing what we do. But ultimately, we are doing this to obviously provide for our family. Like, it's a difficult thing to do, you know, and it's kind of like, I guess for me, it's setting those foundations now for me to set them up for the future. Sure. And it's tough, like, yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah, I think that's the bit, it is. I mean, we're all here on Sunday. We're not spending any time with our families.
I mean, my wife and my kid are over there, like, in the garden, yeah, so it's like, but that's the thing, is any opportunity I can try and do, to try and get them, like, even when I was in Dubai, like, I brought my family out to Dubai with me. It's like, for me, it's like, it's just trying to, we said it before, I said it's Josh before, we've spoken about it before, it's about trying to find the balance, and whatever balance is like, how do we try and find the balance when we're trying to survive and trying to push something and trying to do what we're trying to do?
Yeah. I mean, I think balance is always the thing we're all, well, you need to keep striving for.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can tilt you on quickly to another point, I think both of you are great leaders in, is this kind of brand creation and your image of your companies and of you as individuals. Is that an extension of reality? Is that what you've grown into? How did you plan your brand, or did it happen?
I always give a lot of credit to my business partner, Samuel Palmer, when it comes to branding and, you know, that premium luxury feeling. He was someone that inspired me to consider not actually building a barber shop, but building a brand. You know, 10 years ago, there was no such thing as a brand in a barber's. It was that barbershop, this barbershop. So I think it's something that, again, you know, we're very, very blessed to be at the forefront and have pioneered the way through building a brand at Menspire that's been enabled other people to consider, actually, let's create a brand and not just a barbershop. Because the brand is something that lives on. Myself and Sam won't be here for, you know, the length of time, but a brand will. Yeah. But I think we can also, you know, give major credit to the hairdressing companies out there that have done it, like Sassoon and Tony and Guy, who, again, they weren't just the hairdressers, they transformed themselves into a brand. But in barbering, it didn't really exist. So we were very fortunate to, you know, have considered the identity of a brand that enabled us to revolutionize, you know, what we believe in this industry was what was needed. So again, it's a case of holding and building an identity, creating core values and a culture with a vision that coincides with it, and then building upon that. And that's what will give you the legacy, along with the currency that you need to thrive in the industry.
You give credit to your business partner, but presumably there's quite a team of people that work with both of you to make the machine run smoothly and work so well.
I mean, he's a one-man army. This geezer does it all.
One-man band.
Geezer.
Do literally everything myself.
Do you see his credits on his
my phone?
Hairdresser of the year. Hair by me. Makeup by me.
Photography
Photos by me.
me.
Styling. Come on.
I mean, do you know what it is? I mean, I wish like, everything's timing, I believe, and everything happens at the right time. And I guess for me, for many years, I always done everything myself. And I always wanted to do everything myself because I wanted to have control in what I do. And I was fortunate enough that I studied photography, I studied editing, I studied about branding and all those sort of stuff. And I just love learning new things. So I've always done something myself. But, you know, recently I've just opened up the shop, Luchmun Studios. I took a lot of advice from Josh, a lot of advice from Samuel. I went on the blueprint course as well, which really helped me really understand about business because I'm very good at the creative side of things and I'm very good at business. But when you're actually opening up a shop and actually having to manage a team of people, that's when it's very different.
Sure.
And to go on the course with like Josh and Samuel on the blueprint course, that helped me really fully understand because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, they've got over 30 salons worldwide,
Yeah,
you know, so we're talking different cultures, different people, different like, you know, mindsets. And I was like, you know what, I need to go on something like that to really fully understand that culture of things. But now, obviously, having a team of people, it's great. I think for me, it's about having the right team of people and like everyone growing together. And I think now it's so nice now to actually be like, right, okay, I can trust people to do this. I can trust people to do that. And then it gives me the opportunity to actually concentrate on the things that I need to do to push the brand forward. Like Josh, he's the creative side to things. He's doing the education. He's pushing that side of things. Sam's doing the business side of things. He's pushing those things. And for me, it's like, I take a lot of inspiration from these guys because I'm like, geez, like obviously Menspire, the whole team, it's not just one person. There's multiple different people. And it's like, for me, it's like actually now seeing that like, okay, it's just finding the right type of people.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to trust as well. I know that in the beginning, you were like, well, how do you trust people to carry on your brand, your standard? And again, that reverts back to education. The more that you can mentor these people, the more that they will live up to your brand standard. And I think that's a big part of it. Myself and Sam, we are only as good as our team, and I think that represents across all of the 33 salons,
Yeah.
It's been tough, let me tell you, but we've learned from the mistakes, and we've learned the hard way, without a doubt.
And I think that's what mistakes are for, I guess, is to regroup and re-understand. I'm intrigued. I love that you're open enough to kind of, I look for help, I seek out. Do you? Where do you find your support comes from? Do you have other people in the industry that you will turn to?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very blessed that I have many, many people around me, from business partners to friends, that I can lean into whenever I need support. And I am not shy to ask for help, ever. And I think that's probably one of the key things that have enabled me to continuously grow. You see me 6 months ago, I was a different person to now. 6 months more time, I'm going to be even different, on a higher level. And it's just that constant, who you surround yourself with will empower you. And I think that's also can come as a negative as well, because if you're surrounding yourself by the people that are bringing you down, guess what? You're on your way down as well. So very, very important. You literally are upon the religion of your companions, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if you're the sixth billionaire amongst 7 friends, guess what? You will be the 7th.
Yeah, sure.
You know the story yourself.
Yeah. But I think trust is the really important factor. Starting at the beginning as the conversation was very much about knowing what you know and trusting yourself. That second stage of business, I guess, is to learn to trust others around you. And I guess there needs to be a level of forgiveness when others around you that you've trusted cock up and mess up and goes wrong. Have you found business points or life points in your career that you've stumbled and found more strength when it's gone wrong than when it's gone right?
For me, obviously, whenever it's a situation, I lean into Sam, Sam leans into me, we lean into other directors. For us, we have that network. But I'd love to know, your challenges so far as a business owner. Where do you turn to?
I think, do you know what, for me, I think it's going back to the trust issues. I've always had trust issues, just in life in general. Like I've always had this mindset, like if you want something done, do it yourself. But then now, since having the shop, I feel like when I first opened up in December, through going on the course with Josh, through talking to Josh and like other people like in the industry and like getting advice, seeking advice for them, I think when I first opened up the shop, I found myself starting to micromanage. Right. And in my head, I was just like, I need to stop doing that and I need to actually let go and actually trust people to make their own decisions, let them get on with it, tell them obviously what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done, but let them make the mistakes and be like, okay, you know where you've gone wrong, you know what mistake you've made, learn from it and then move on from it. And I think for me, that's what's happened. I mean, I guess the challenging thing that I personally found was within myself. Having to actually manage people and not micromanage people. Are
you finding that more comfortable now that you've stepped off the deep end and you're doing it?
Yeah, because now, since being open now, we've been open now three months. Oh. I've got 4 barbers there. I've got 2 Saturday boys. And I just very much let them do what they need to do. Let them be the best versions of themselves. And same like Josh was saying, let them lean into me if they need help. And also, I lean into them if I need help. I always ask them, what do you think? What do you think you should do? What do you think needs to be done? How are you finding the shop? I want them to feel like a part of the team and a part of the brand as well. And I guess, as Josh was saying, it's really about building that community of people that all align with the same vision.
Yeah. And I guess that we've got a point now where recently there's been the conversation about apprentices and people coming into our industry and how that's changing. Obviously, from a training course point of view, that's obviously a big entrance in. But do you find yourselves inspired by young people when you meet them, younger people coming into the industry? Have you met people recently that have shaken you up and impressed you? Do you still get impressed, I guess, is the question.
Everyone impresses me. I think everyone's got their own unique story and path that they're on. I do get inspired by the younger generation. I like coming to events like this because you see the hungry young barbers and the young hairdressers. But I guess for me it's just not being caught up in social media and not getting caught up in what they see. As Josh was saying, it's like everyone wants things so fast nowadays. Everyone wants to be, how do you be an educator? How do you travel around the world? And I'll be like, well, how long have you been cutting hair for? 2 years. I'm like, it takes time. You can't just be cutting hair for 2 years. And even if you are fully booked in a salon, it's like, you still need that experience. My young lads that I've got now, it's like, they want to do shows like this. I'm like, okay, cool, go up on stage. And I'm not really too sure what I want to do on stage. And it's like, well, that's what I mean. Everything's about having experience, getting as much experience as you can and learning from other people as well.
Josh, you have quite a large team of people and obviously are meeting people a lot, and you have that influence. Do you find you've got to give them a reality check when they arrive? How do you vet through these people?
Like I said before, I think when I mentioned about intentions, it's very, very important to understand and to check people's intentions when they arrive at Menspire and stuff like that. Because, people know now in the industry, we're a big stepping stone for someone's career to propel.
Sure.
Someone comes to us, they've got medium skill, 2-3 years, they're going to have high skill, and they'll have a platform also that has great visibility. So again, whenever someone comes for an interview, it's very important that we understand their intention. What are they trying to achieve with us? Are they really with us for the long run, or are they trying to be the 2-3 year and then boom, out, and they're on their own type of thing? Look, we've worked really, really hard. We've done the hard work that maybe in today's world it's not as hard. We were building a brand before social media was even a thing. Yeah. You could build a brand overnight, and become a viral sensation. For us it was a lot harder, and we built up our platform respectfully. And obviously we don't want to be used, so to speak.
Sure.
At the same time, we're there to give people opportunities that once we never had. So again, always checking people's intentions, checking whether it's pure or whether it's for their own good type of thing.
Sure. Yeah. And really, I guess if people are looking at education where we started from, it is a matter of where that education's coming from, and is it in your best interest rather than maybe in the educator's best interest.
Yeah. No,
I know we had a conversation about this as well, because, look at the man, he's won multiple awards and, a credit to the industry. He's now going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Do people want to come to me because they want to work with me, or they just want to come and get a little bit of me and then
go off and do their own thing?
Take off.
No, of course.
That's
the thing. That's the one
That's
thing.
not going to help your trust issues
No,
at
that's
all,
the
is
thing,
it?
but that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
it's the reality is are they coming in with the right intentions? Are they coming in to come along with you for the ride, or are they coming in to get in the ride and then get out and then jump back into their own ride? And I guess, so what do you do, right? It's how do you kind of make sure they're the right fit for the brand,
Yeah.
You know what? It comes down to leadership as well. At the end of the day, you don't want to be the bus driver. You want to be the bus driver. You want to be the one at the front leading the pack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of it does come down to leadership. If you can show that you can lead, the people, they will want to be led.
Yeah.
The people that want to grow, they will be led.
Yeah. No, good. I like that phrase. Good phrase. And where you guys are now presumably wasn't the plan when you both started. You started out with the intentions of being good at your craft, enjoying what you were doing, and this has grown. It seems like that people coming in now feel like they have to have a plan, and they're missing out on that early part of enjoying the career, enjoying the learn, enjoying the skills, enjoying the the process that I loved when I started, and presumably for you to have the passions that you have, you did the same. You enjoyed those beginnings.
Yeah, exactly. Just enjoy the process, enjoy the ride and take it for what it is. I think nothing happens overnight. Everything takes time. And just enjoy it. Like, I feel there's too many people that, again, going back to like people want things instantly.
They want to jump over, they want to miss some of the steps out without, and they're doing themselves a disservice. Do you not think?
Yeah. Interesting. I've got one of my team members now, and he's very ambitious. And of course, if he's around, people that have been there and done it, it's like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And it's like, dude, it ain't gonna happen overnight, but we can get you to that point.
Yeah.
Just be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient. Withstand the difficulty of not being where you want to be right now, and it will come. But God's timing is always perfect, and that time will come.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's Josh was saying. Like when we first started, there was no social media.
No,
I remember like Facebook.
We were chatting on Facebook or Twitter or something.
Facebook Messenger.
Man, when I started, there wasn't even that, so I'm not even joining in this one.
I know, right?
I can imagine. Yeah.
But I'll send you a postcard. We are fortunate that we've come back. We started off back in the day when people would actually have conversations. Now people are DMing people. Now people are like messaging people and whatever else. But again, going back to communication. That's one thing that I really thrive on is communicating with people. I like to look at people's in the eyes, shake their hands, talk to them, old school, that sort of thing.
I'll tell you one thing that I love as well is like, from the outside looking in on the industry, the people might see a lot of competition between educators and companies and stuff like that. And I think what's really interesting about the position that myself and Kev have built up, we've both come from very, very simple, humble beginnings. Competition starts at the bottom and collaboration begins at the top. And, we worked together now a few times, and, it's quite clear to see that you have to surpass that desire to compete with other people.
Yeah.
You have to surpass that. Like, it's a mindset, isn't it? You have to come away from that mindset of like, I'm trying to compete with that barbershop over there or that barbershop over there. The moment that you fully lock in, humbly with your own business, you'll start to see progress. You'll start to thrive. And I guess, being where myself and Kev have sat with the achievements that we've achieved, collaboration is at the top.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, that seems like a good place to finish. And I think collaboration is something that I've learned in the last 2 years of running this podcast. It's been amazing. It's great to see you two working together. And always lovely to speak to yourself, Kevin. Lovely. Thank you, Josh, so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We've been The Noble Barber. We're at the Great British Barber Bash. Thank you very much for your time. See you again. Welcome to the Noble Barber Podcast. We're always looking for interesting people and interesting stories. If you know someone or you are someone with a great story that you want to share, get in touch and come join me on the sofa. Thanks very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time.